Live from parts unknown, you're listening to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast, the only wrestling podcast on the planet, we think. Sit back, relax, prepare for positivity to run through your veins as Simon Miller gives you your weekly dose of powerful pro wrestling audio. It is Miller Time.
Hello and welcome to Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Simon Miller and this is a Pro Wrestling Podcast. Before we do kick things off today, I want to thank everyone for their well wishes. I did indeed have my second ever wrestling match for Defiant Wrestling this Monday just gone. You can see said wrestling match, should you want, this Saturday, access.wearedefiant.com or on the Fight TV app. I think it's Saturday night about 7 or something. I'm not going to go into too much. We are going to talk about a few things today, but I'd rather talk about that next week once everybody's seen it. But yes, if you would like to see it and you would like to support me, and obviously that does help, because if they see numbers go up, they're like, oh, we should book Simon again. So certainly do that if you fancy it. And yeah, so thank you to everyone that sent me well wishes. If you'd like to see a picture of said thing, you can find it at SimonMiller316 on Twitter, or you can find me on Instagram, Simon Miller, which I never talk about, but you can find it on there. And I will also make sure that later on today I post it in the Facebook group, and to join that, just search for Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast and join. It's a lovely community there. I would love it. Now, we are going to get into everything that's been going down in the week of wrestling, and I'm very happy and very proud to say that I am being joined by Patreon member Luke today. And before I introduce him, I want to say thank you to Luke, who very kindly did pledge to the Patreon at patreon.com/Simon316, which makes all this stuff possible. Luke, my man, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Simon. How are yourself?
I'm all right. I got a hole in my head, but we're going to talk about that. Actually, we'll talk about it in a second. So yeah, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for the support. Like I said, I wouldn't be able to
you're
do
welcome.
this, so that is. But before we get into it, we have to go through the questions we always go through, because it's always a fun thing, especially because everybody has the same story. You are a wrestling fan, clearly. Let me know how you got into it. Who was the wrestler that sort of captivated you for the first time, and when you realised, shit, I'm going to watch this for the rest of my life. This is going to cause me loads of problems, particularly with the opposite sex, unless they understand wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to disappoint you. I did go through a lull of not watching it at some point, as everyone does.
Good, I'm glad. Otherwise, I'd be upset.
But I first got into it about late 98, 99, because I was born in 92, so Attitude Era was a big thing. Or ride really. So at the age of 6/7, I did watch the Attitude Era.
Wow!
And I think
that's bah. Everyone that comes on here watches.
It's true. It is true, isn't it? Like, parents clearly did not know what really happened on that show.
Well, no. So what did you think as a 7-year-old watching that?
It's the best thing ever at 6 or 7, really, isn't it? Because you at that stage, obviously, you believe everything is real. So. Yeah. It's got the added bonus of that, but then you've got the characters were just batshit crazy, and you've got people just being rebels, and just from that really, and you got people like The Rock, who was the guy who sort of I clung on to when I was young. I was because my first WrestleMania would have been 99, which was Rock versus Stone Cold.
Oh wow!
And I was
all right.
I was Rock side of it.
Really?
So at the time,
why was that?
I hated Stone Cold. I don't know why. I think it must have just been his promos. I loved the way he spoke. And I think at 6 and 7, if you can pull off sunglasses and do the little eyebrow raise that well, then that's just what it done for me, really, I suppose. And a cool entrance music, yeah. And
then how long did you watch for before you went, I need a break?
I would have say probably up until about 2002, 2003.
Okay, so a good 5 years, 4 or 5 years or so.
Yeah, and then I think it's just as I turned to secondary school, really. That's when I sort of faded out of it. I think I always kept in the loop of things that was going on, but never like watched religiously like what we've all ended up doing now.
Yeah.
But I think it's just you sort of phase in and out, and I think. Even if you do phase out, you do sort of keep track of what's going on.
Yeah, I think so. Especially with the internet the way it's today.
Yeah, and especially if you've got friends who watch it still at the time. So yeah, sort of phased back out of it then. I reckon came back into it about 2008, 2009, round about then.
And what was it then? What was happening then when you're like, you know what, it's time to go back in?
I don't really know. Maybe just the fact of like DVDs coming out. I had a lot of the for instance, I had like the Bret Hart DVD, The Rock, Undertaker, that sort of thing, where I think you just sort of relive the moments of watching when you were younger. Just gets you like nostalgic and wants you to gets you back into it again. I think that might have been a big factor into it.
Yeah.
So maybe like the DVDs, that sort of thing. But then I think I went into it all the way through till about 2012-13 then. And then phased back out of it once sort of Punk left.
I think a lot of people did that. I think a lot of people felt sort of disappointed with everything that had happened with him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he was the best around. Like there's no doubt about it. And then when everything like that happened to him, I just lost interest from that really. And then funny enough, I came back into it roughly about July last year. So I haven't been back into it fully that long. But what got me back into it was a What Culture Wrestling YouTube video.
I'm excited. So, which one was it?
In a way, it was back in July, but it was the facts about WrestleMania.
Amazing.
So I think I must have just typed it, something to do with WrestleMania in on YouTube, and then obviously it clocks what you've posted before. And it was the facts about WrestleMania 1999 one, which obviously is like the one that I remember the most from when I was a kid. And then I just ended up just binge watching every single one from that.
Right, so you caught up on everything then?
Yeah, and then basically on the facts side of it, and then from that just sort of got back into watching What Culture Wrestling YouTube videos on a daily basis, which then ultimately got me back into watching wrestling again.
And now here you are on a wrestling podcast.
And here I am, yeah.
I love it. I love it when What Culture get people
it's
back into
one of the main
wrestling.
Reasons. Yeah. I'll tell you what was one of the main things as well was the recent videos that I was watching at the time kept on mentioning a certain 6.25 star match, which I thought, I've got to see this match. And I just spoke to my friends who still watch wrestling religiously before, and have done for years. And I asked them about it, and they've heard of it but hadn't seen it. So we all just went round one of our friends' houses and just watched it. And from that, it's just sort of like I got into indie wrestling and New Japan before I got back into WWE again.
Wow, so you came at it from like a
different angle.
Yeah, how was that? Because I mean, I guess it depends what you like from your wrestling, but I can imagine a lot of people, you almost go to New Japan and the Indies for a different kind of a fix, whereas WWE is your more accessible, palatable kind of wrestling. So was it weird to then go back to WWE? Did you find it jarring at all, or was it like I'm happy to have sort of the different palette, as they say?
Yeah, I think it was inevitable I was going to go back to WWE. I think, but from the New Japan, I think it's just the style of wrestling and the different side of it. I really like in everything indie, like comic books and computer games. I always have like a soft spot for. I like them to do well, but like when I was watching like the indies and the New Japans, from that going, telling my friends, you need to watch this match, you need to watch this match. They sort of said, well, you need to watch, and I remember it with Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne from last year. You need to watch that at NXT. So I watched that, and then it got me into NXT, which then got me back into watching the main roster again.
And now here you are.
Here I am.
I find that I love that. I love that. I love these stories. I think it's fascinating because, I had my lull sort of. I'm an old man. I had my lull sort of in the middle of 2000s, but it took me. And of course, we talked about this before, but of course it's because social media has gotten bigger and the internet's made the world smaller. But I mean, I always tried to keep up with the indie scene as much as possible. But New Japan, it's only really been the last few years when I kind of found it. But I guess if I was coming at it from the way that you did in a more modern, approach, then you probably would go to New Japan because, like you say, if you're into the whole dirt sheets and online stuff, you're going to see this with this Kenny Omega guy that everybody's going crazy about.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that actually makes a lot of sense. But I find that's why wrestling's so great in 2018. That was never, when I was a kid. I say a kid. How old are you now? You don't have to say it.
I am 25.
25. Yeah. So. It was a long time for me, but even I'm not going to say how long ago it was, but it was a long time. And and even then, the internet was obviously a thing. But it still hadn't done really what it's done over the last few months and sort of, I think it's really for me sort of the last 3-4 years where it's become this incredible tool for indie wrestling. And
Oh yeah,
and you got to give it up to people like the Young Bucks. They are one of the dudes that has done this. Have managed.
What they've done is amazing, especially with the actual YouTube show that they do, Being the Elite, and everything like that. They just add their own. They add the storylines that they have in the wrestling world into their YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and it just makes people love them more.
Exactly, you hit the nail on the head, and I think that's certain people. I guess at some point in time we're a bit disparaging about YouTube and social media and stuff like that within WWE. I mean, but for them to go out and do that, I just think I think it's brilliant.
I think the trouble is as well, you can't get anything like that from a WWE superstar because of how much sort of they've got to stick within the lines.
Exactly,
so they wouldn't be allowed to do anything like that, which is a shame, really.
I guess it is and it isn't. I mean, I think. Actually, I take that back. You're right. It is a shame. It's 100% a shame. However, I understand it simply because it's that classic thing of if you've got gum and I've got gum. If we both got gum and the teacher says, "Look, don't eat gum in class," and then you eat it and I don't, we both lose our gum. And that's the problem with WWE is that it only takes one person to do something stupid, which we have seen. And as a publicly run company, it's like, we can't do this no more.
No, exactly.
But I also almost kind of like it because it does allow the indie scene to have something that WWE doesn't. And
a little bit different, yeah.
Yeah, they can utilize that to make it feel even more different. And that's why I like it. So as we're here and as we're talking about it, I know you wanted to talk about New Japan because Dominion is 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, 6th, is it? No, the 9th. 9th is.
So
9th of June.
Next week. Oh, man, I've lost track of days. So it's a week on Saturday. Or it's next week, whatever. And I was talking to a friend about this the other day. So when you mentioned you want to talk about it, I was like, absolutely. Because the thing about Dominion to me, it feels like now it's a culmination of all these kind of headlines we've had over the last few years. Like you said, the 6-star match. Omega 2, Naito not winning, all of this stuff. And now Chris Jericho coming back. Because even if you don't know the rest of the card, having the fourth and essentially the blow-off match between Kenny Omega and Okada, and we'll talk about this in a second, but to me, Omega has to be winning that match.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, but then also
100%.
to have Chris Jericho versus Naito, and you could argue that Naito is the most over guy in the company. I would accept that argument. I mean, I've only given you 2 matches, and that's before we get into all the other stars that are going to... And that's the 100% right. And I always kind of see Dominion as their SummerSlam, which is
SummerSlam, 100%,
It's a bit disparaging, I get it, but that's just how... If someone's, my mate that's just getting to New Japan now, that's what I say. It's SummerSlam. But maybe done a little... it was more consistent than SummerSlam. I think that's why it holds up more.
It's more reliable, I think.
But I know, like they say, I don't think when I first started doing this podcast and I started deciding to have people on, that many people have gone, I want to talk about New Japan. But the fact that you did is not surprising for that very reason. The star power and the sheer intrigue is through the roof. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, even without those 2 matches which you mentioned, Rey Mysterio is due to have a match, and it hasn't been announced who he's fighting yet, but it's to be announced. And just the fact that Rey Mysterio's having a match after how good he looked in the Rumble will make people want to watch that.
Yeah. I mean...
Out of anything, really. It doesn't matter who he's against.
Well, yeah, because it's that classic thing of, like, superstar wrestler in a new company we've never seen him at before.
Yeah.
Because wasn't at one point he was going to fight Liger, right? That was the plan.
That was a Ring of Honor / New Japan show. But then he was injured, so Will Ospreay took Liger on instead.
But that's the thing. I like the fact we don't know in a way. I'm sure they'll probably announce it beforehand. Maybe they don't even have to. They've got a stacked enough card.
Yeah, it might be the winner of the Super Juniors. Who knows?
Exactly. And I just think that, it's so appealing on paper that I'm not surprised a lot of people are excited about this. Like, it's just... And I just find it crazy. I find the growth of New Japan, I understand that it's nowhere in the same league as WWE at the moment. That's fine.
No.
But, I think because Will Ospreay has got a to-be-decided match as well, doesn't he? Like, they don't know who... Yeah, because...
Because it's for a title, if you've still got the title
exactly,
at the time,
Exactly. And I think you've got Goto on the show, Elgin's on the show, Taichi's on the show.
That's the triple threat.
That's right. You've got Young Bucks going against Sonata and Evil. Like, this is... And the best thing as well is, we talk about... A lot of people think that WWE don't use their titles in the best way. Every match I've just mentioned then, other than the Rey Mysterio one, is for a championship. And every single one of those titles means something. Yeah. Which I find incredible.
It's like... It's weird in a way, but I always believe that a title is more prestigious if it looks nice.
I do, 100%, man.
the New Japan belts, every single one of them, I think look amazing. Whereas in WWE now, you look at like Intercontinental, yeah, that's a stunning belt, especially with the white actual belt part. You got the UK Championship looks nice. The North American Championship looks nice. But the other belts, I just don't think look very attractive. And it just, in my mind, I'm like, it's for the title, but the belt doesn't look that nice. Like, if I was a wrestler, why would I want to win a belt which doesn't actually look that nice? In my head, I know it's very strange to think that, but
no, I don't think so. I completely understand where you're coming from, because it's a prize, right? It's something to win. It's something to desire.
It's something you show when you've won it. So it should look attractive and look appealing to win it in the first place.
Yeah, of course it does. It's like it sounds a bit weird, but it's like dating, right? First thing you do is, do I find this person attractive with my eyes? And it's the same thing. You know,
do I want to show her off or not?
Dude, there is something in that, man. Like, and you could call it shallow, but we're all human beings. We all have that. We all have that in us, and I do think that's something Japan does very, very well. Is that, well, I think within WWE, I don't like saying it like this, but it's just a word everybody can understand. I do think the belts have become somewhat of a prop. You know, the Universal Championship, for example. There was a time when I had no problem with Raw not being with Brock Lesnar not being on Raw each and every week. But there's always a tipping point with that stuff, and we tipped over it. Now it just feels like we're not even going to talk about the belt on Raw, and that's a problem because.
I mean, thank God for Seth Rollins, really, because else what would Raw have other than tag team titles? You got no actual main title there.
No, and that's the thing. Like, and maybe that's why they try and, Seth Rollins to me recently certainly feels like he's having the run of his career in WWE.
Yeah,
or at least from a face point of view, and maybe that's why, because they understood that the Intercontinental title has to get some momentum behind it. Yeah, but I that is, New Japan don't do that. New Japan are very smart with their titles, and I think when we get to these big shows, they pull it off. And of course, it's a different show and a different product. They do less shows. I get it, but it still doesn't mean it's not true. No,
I mean, Okada is on every show which has heavyweights on the show.
Yeah,
he's on it in a tag match or or whatever, but he's on it. He's there. He's always got the belt with him, whether you like him or not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way. I think my problem when it comes to Raw is that they just don't mention.
It's just not acknowledged.
That's the problem. It's probably because they don't have a plan and they don't know. But it's that whole out of sight, out of mind thing. You do forget. Or I certainly do anyway. And that's ridiculous because as soon as you're forgetting the reason why everybody's meant to be there in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, we're coming up to Money in the Bank now. And we've just had Backlash, which didn't have a Universal title match on it. Now we're coming up to the next pay-per-view, and there is still no build for a Universal title. And not even like a hint or, this could be a number one contenders match. There's no one even contending for the title. It's almost as if they're like, forget about it till SummerSlam.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, man. That's 100% what it is. And, there's a What Culture video going up about this at some point. I recorded it today. He is about to break CM Punk's record. I think he breaks it on the 9th of June, which is, I think he breaks it the day of Dominion, actually, which is, so, I mean, this is what the video is all about. I actually think you can still argue that CM Punk was far more important to proceedings than Brock Lesnar was, but I'll say that for the video.
I think he defended it loads more than what Brock has. I think I've seen it was like tens more.
Oh, night and day, it's over 100 times, which is ridiculous. But I think that's why more people are gravitating towards New Japan. And again, in a way, is that just, as we've already discussed, is that classic thing of, well, it's different and it doesn't feel like WWE, and that's good. That's what I want. Don't make it more like it. Keep it away from it. I
mean, what they're actually trying to do with like the Okada Omega 4, the fact that they've acknowledged that it's 1-1-1, one win, one draw, one loss for each of them. And one that was drawn was a time limit of 60 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So there's going to be no time limit and best out of two out of three falls, which, they are building it to be like the best out of the four of them already. And whereas like in WWE, you come to like a WrestleMania where it's like AJ Styles and Nakamura, that should have been the biggest match on the card, but it wasn't. It was quite disappointment. Whereas you can trust New Japan to be like, well, that's going to be a good match. Whether it's going to be the best match on the card or not, you know that they're not going to do a rubbish match. It's not going to be like, well, that was disappointing. It's never like that with New Japan, I feel, whereas WWE is always like a bit of a letdown at every pay-per-view. Like the expectation's higher than what the outcome is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And the other problem with pay-per-views now, especially, and we touched upon this recently, they don't mean anything.
No.
I mean, you're better off watching the TV.
Yeah.
Which
especially
is
this TV
crazy.
deal. It's going to be like, well, there's so much more money in the TV deal.
Yeah, so you've got
They're going to want the title.
Yeah,
more.
you've got to pound. I mean, the good thing about that is you won't get a Brock Lesnar situation, I don't think, once that TV... No. I think you have to start treating the belt as a staple. So that's good. I don't think we need that anymore. Maybe in the future we can go back to it, sure. But right now I don't think we need it anymore. No. So that's good. But yeah, I mean, pay-per-views at this point, other than WrestleManias, your SummerSlams, I wouldn't even put Survivor Series in there. Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank I would put in there just because I think the stipulation is still strong. Otherwise, pay-per-views are now just something to watch on the network on a Sunday or Monday, depending on how you feel. I mean, that's pretty much it. Whereas New Japan still have that magic with their pay-per-views, which again I love because we can we can balance that out. We just have something different. I just want something different. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, me and my friend Matt, we sat down and watched that Don Taku pay-per-view, which New Japan done the day before Backlash. But they always do it like on a 2-day thing, don't they? They have like one show Saturday, one show Sunday. Yeah. So we watched the Sunday show in the Sunday evening before Backlash, and it was an amazing show. And like the wrestling match, the standard of wrestling matches was like really good to watch, and it was a very entertaining show. Obviously, you had Kenny Omega coming out at the end with Okada and Okada challenging him. You had Jericho jumping Naito. That all happened there, which is sort of things like, other than matches, I love to see things like that. Like, Jericho coming back, that's excitement and stuff like that. And then we watched Backlash and we both fell asleep during like the Nia Jax match. It's like, there's nothing keeping my interest in this pay-per-view. And I watched it back the next day and I was like, well, I didn't miss anything. Like, it wasn't like wasted not watching it live. But when I told my mate Matt about it, he didn't even bother watching it again because he thought, he heard how bad it was. He says, there's no point in me watching. I'll just carry on watching Raw and on Monday night and go from there. Well, it just seems no purpose.
Well, that's it, right, man? And Backlash especially was a bad one. I think we all know that.
Yeah, that was really bad.
They dropped the ball massively with that one. And I always think there's some positives you can take away, but I also think it's silly. Sometimes you just got to look at something for what it is. But again, I obviously am privileged to be able to watch all this stuff and do culture videos of them, which is, when it's your job, it does make it, it does make it more exciting.
Yeah,
but
definitely,
it's, I don't know. I don't want bad pay-per-views. I'm not saying that. But we want every wrestling show to be amazing. Exactly. It's just a shame when it's like WrestleMania had so much hype and build because the matches did look incredible, and it started off so well as well. And it was just such a shame the way it ended, I think, for so many people. Well, it sounds so cliche, but it was like two different shows, right? The first half I thought was really good, and the second half was just so long. I mean, if we just cut 2 hours, an hour and a half of it, I still think it would have been better. I thought it was well paced. I thought it was smart in terms of what they did with all the John Cena stuff. But but then again, what was Wrestle Kingdom this year? 5 hours, 4.5, I think. Like, it wasn't short. It was close to 6, I think. And every match was a banger. Yeah, and the only disappointment I had watching that was the fact that Naito didn't win. But I wasn't like annoyed by it. It was like, I kind of won again. I wanted Naito to win, but it wasn't like, that's ruined the pay-per-view for me. Whereas things happen in WWE pay-per-views and you just think, for God's sake, not again. Like, that was the only disappointing thing on the whole show, was that the person I wanted to win the title didn't win it. It was still an amazing match. Yeah, exactly. And also, you don't know what the story holds, because obviously Gedo books miles in advance, so you may have a plan for this. That you look back and you go, oh, right, I see, I get it. Which he obviously did. He wanted to break Tanahashi's record. Yeah, exactly. So I think for my money, if Naito beats Jericho and then Omega beats Okada, then you do Naito versus Omega, for the belt. And I mean, you can't have Naito win it. I don't mean straight away. Maybe at Wrestle Kingdom next year, and then maybe Omega loses it that quickly, and then maybe Omega goes on to other things. I'm not saying he's going to WWE. I'm just saying maybe he goes on to other things. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, but I like that. Like I say, when you said you wanted to talk about it, I was like, I completely understand. It's the world has changed. The world has changed.
I like to think that people sort of, if we do talk about it as well, people will listen to it and then check it out, and it could be like just more people getting into it can only help it. And the fact that like Dominion is literally around the corner, it's like the perfect time to speak about it as well. So. Yeah, I thought it'd be a good idea.
Absolutely, man. And do you have any predictions for the show?
I think, like you said, I think Naito has to beat Jericho because I can't see Jericho being a full-time person on the show. Yeah. So I think that one's pretty obvious. But, I mean, if Okada wins again, I just don't... Who else is in their company to beat him at this point? Because he's beaten everyone who's decent recently.
Yeah.
So it'd have to be someone either brought in from outside... or someone has to be a very slow builded push to finally beat him at another bigger pay-per-view, which I don't know if there is any coming up.
Not that
so I can't.
Know of.
No, maybe the G1 doesn't even have a title match. I don't think. I don't know.
Well, they could do it. I mean, they could do it.
Yeah,
but
it's got to change hands at some point. Now that he's beaten the record.
Yeah. I would give it. I'd have Omega win, and I'd have Jericho lose. I mean, that's. Because it doesn't hurt Jericho at this stage at all. Unless they have a plan for Jericho. I mean, maybe, but I wouldn't want to see Naito lose to Okada and then lose to Jericho so soon. Again, I don't think it would hurt him, but to me, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, and it's his first title defense with the belt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. I think that they've set up just an awesome show, and it'll be intriguing because it is a week before Money in the Bank.
Yes.
So
so you can compare the two and see whether it's a disappointment from WWE's end again or not. Really.
I mean, well, obviously we'll do the Money in the Bank episode in a couple of weeks, but as we are here, I mean, do you have any sort of strong feelings about who you think should win Money in the Bank, or who you'd like to win Money in the Bank? Because that is different. Because I think that Finn Balor should win it because I think he needs something.
But I totally agree with you.
But I don't want him to. I wouldn't mind if he won, but if someone said choose, I'd probably pick Rusev, to be honest. I mean, it's never going to happen, but I'd love him. Yeah. So, you know. But yeah, I can't.
Who doesn't, other than
WWE?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that I can't see Balor winning it either. I just don't.
No, I don't. They just don't seem to like Balor. The person who I wanted to win originally before, like, the people who were in the match was announced was Elias. I think because they haven't really done anything with him for a few months now, but he's been there. And it's almost like they were building to him, like, he's going to be just keeping him in the public's eye, so you're reminded that he's there. But he wasn't in anything, and I was thinking maybe he gets the Money in the Bank, and then it's just a year-long like version of him with the briefcase, just teasing all the time because he's that sort of character. He could just keep coming out every time. The champion's down, and instead of actually cashing it in, he just starts playing a song or something like that. That's what I sort of wanted.
Yeah, it'd be fun, right?
Yeah, but he wasn't even in it, so that was that was my hopes and dreams crushed again. But yeah, I watched your video on the Finn Balor why he should win, and I totally agree with you. He needs something.
He just needs something.
He's good enough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing, and he would be able to get that fan following back with the right thing. Yes. He needs a thing. He's just faceless at the moment.
He does, yeah, and he's like losing in good matches, and it's just a shame because obviously he's not the one getting pushed at the minute. Whereas I think if he had the briefcase, and don't forget he never actually lost the title to begin with, so the fact that he'd have the case to get a chance to get it back, it's surely
that stuff. I don't know. Why does that happen? I mean, literally why? But like, I don't. Oh, anyway, it happened. But but do you have? Is that who you want to win, though?
That's who I'd like to win, who's in it. Yeah.
Okay, all right. But I think Braun will win it, and I think that's fine.
I agree.
In a way, because sometimes I like to go, oh, no, WWE is something different, and they never do. So now I'm just like, you know what? They'll probably go. And I think that's okay. I think we need to get the title off Brock. Doesn't work with Brock. No. And this is why I don't think it's going to work, because I do think you'll cash in on Brock. However, what I would like to see is some like chicken shit heel champion, and then every time Braun Strowman's music hit, it's just like, oh.
Yeah, like imagine if it was like The Miz was champion, but Braun was the guy with the briefcase.
There you go.
Something like that.
There you go. Like, it would be yeah, it would just be wonderful. It just would. I don't think that's going to happen, but I don't mind that. I just think it'd be a wasted opportunity is a bit much. Yeah. I don't know. I can't think of the right word. I just think if you're going to do Braun, that's what you want. I don't think we'll get that. But hey, I like Money in the Bank. I think
it's a nice concept. I like the whole cashing in briefcase. It adds. I always remember when I come back into like wrestling through a different stage was the Dolph Ziggler cash in.
I mean, that was awesome.
And that was massive.
Yeah.
I love that show.
Oh, man, it's just fun, right? And that's... Yeah. Sometimes I think you've got to remember that. Like, having... Just fun is fun. Like, there's nothing wrong with a bit of fun every now and then.
A good cash-in. I like that.
Yeah. How do you feel about Raw and SmackDown this week? Because I actually thought they were... Let me phrase this correctly. They were pointless shows.
Yeah.
But I did take away certain enjoyable aspects from them. But I think they just knew the NBA playoffs were going to own them entirely. So they're like,
Yeah, so nothing really progressed storyline wise, but it was sort of like it was a good show. There was a couple of decent matches, but it wasn't like eye opening. Like, oh, you've got to watch this.
Yeah, I think SmackDown was better than Raw, but that's usually the way. Just because. Also, the other thing, I didn't notice this when I was doing ups and downs. Where was Stephanie McMahon this week?
Yeah, she disappeared again.
Yeah, she just was on the show.
Yeah,
I was like, why? I don't get it.
Back by popular demand and then gone by popular demand. It was just very strange. It's just when she wants to be there, I suppose. I don't know.
I don't know. It's that classic. Oh, I don't know. But yeah, Raw. I liked how Raw started because Braun Strowman came out, and given that Braun Strowman is the most popular guy on the roster, that's how it should always start. That's the most popular guy. I mean, I don't like those starts, but if you're going to do it, and usually it's Roman Reigns, and obviously Roman Reigns just wasn't on. It wasn't on.
He's on holiday, isn't he?
Well, yeah, which is fine. I don't mind that. I don't think he needs to be on every show, but yeah, I like that straight away because I was like, oh, good. It's like back in the olden days, the most popular guy comes out first. Whee!
Yeah,
So I thought it was okay, and then they went into the Balor stuff. I thought, well, that's okay too. I like big man, small. You know what I mean? I say big man, small man, but I like that kind of angle. I always think it's fun. I like Kevin Owens on commentary. I liked all the jibes he was throwing. I just thought it was right.
It's different. Doing things like that, it wasn't like making the match worse or irritating. It was making it more fun. It was making it different. And the fact that it's Kevin Owens who's doing it, who is one of the best people on the mic, as a heel. So I think, I agree. It was a good start to the show. Yeah,
no, I thought so. I just thought it was. Again, nothing really happened. It was kind of a repeat of what we did last time, but you know what? It's fine. Whatever.
But that's what WWE's thing. When it like last week they had a very good match. It was like, oh, that was Finn Balor and Braun Strowman had a good match. Let's do it again.
Yeah, which is fine. And I actually liked all the stuff with Elias and Seth Rollins too, because when I was watching it and Elias just walked off, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are we just going to try and ruin any kind of sort of stigma this guy has?
Just bury him, yeah.
But then he came back after the match and he smacked him with a guitar. And I was like, it's small things. I don't think it's got talked about enough. It's small things like that which makes all the difference. Like,
yes, definitely. If they need to pull the trigger on that as well.
Yeah, because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's not an idiot. He actually, got his revenge as I wanted him to.
Yeah, like a heel should.
Exactly. And I really appreciated that. I thought it was a small thing, but it is something they don't do a lot. A lot of time they make both their baby faces and their heels look stupid.
Yeah.
And that never works.
Or they tease something like this, and then next week we'll watch Raw, and neither of them will be anywhere near each other on the show.
Oh, man,
and it will just be forgotten about again, like they normally do.
That and 50-50 booking. I don't mind it in the grand scheme of things. When I'm watching it, it's so boring. It's like, why someone gets some momentum and then we just kill it? And I'm they did that with Elias last week when he beat... Who did he beat last week, Elias?
Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode it was, which they didn't even touch this week. Oh, my gosh. But last and then this week... last week, after he did that, he got run over by Strowman straight away. And I was like, why? Why the difference that make? Why do we have to do that for?
Like, why does Braun come out before the next... the previous match is finished?
I don't know.
Just to run someone over.
I don't know.
And then that's never, touched on again. Because they had a rivalry before. And there was never a payoff.
I know. I don't understand. It was so weird, but I thought it was good. I thought Jinder was actually all right in the match with Seth. I thought he held his own. I thought it was relatively decent.
Yeah,
I was. Yeah, Yeah.
I mean, Seth Rollins right now is the man of the company.
Oh, I think so.
In matches, in overness, and I think it helps as well. His entrance music makes him more over, just because you can literally shout "Burn It Down" as he's coming out, and you can hear the crowd shout it.
Yeah. Well, that makes all the difference, doesn't it? It gives the illusion of that he's really popular, because he is.
Yeah.
Because he is. So, yeah, no, I liked all of that. I thought all of that was decent. Jinder versus Roman at pay-per-view, but whatever, his money in the bank is the focus there.
It's a case of who do people hate more than Roman Reigns?
Yeah, with Jinder Mahal. So let's see what we
make
can do
them
with
like him. Yeah.
Yeah. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. I mean, the segment is difficult because I thought the segment was okay. I thought it was executed how it was meant to be executed.
Yeah.
I also thought it was a bit ridiculous because, Nia Jax saying, "I've got this chick in an armbar."
What?
But she's not Ronda Rousey.
No.
I know it's fake, but Ronda Rousey has proven she can tap people out. So it doesn't matter what you're doing to that. I thought that confused me. I know I'm looking into it way too deep, but I was like, that's not. It doesn't make any sense.
And I like what you said about ups and downs as well. How she's just completely flipped from being the babyface champion to now a massive heel without any trigger. It just happened.
I don't get it.
And as soon as you said it, I thought, oh yeah, I forgot. It was. Are we supposed to forget about that?
I don't know, because she was a super babyface as well. A super babyface.
Yeah, no bullying, no body shaming.
Yeah, and now, fuck you, Ronda Rousey. It's why?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't mind if they do that every now and then, but not. This was too. What's the word I'm looking for? It was just too in your face. It was too obvious to the point I'm like, you have to give me something, man.
It must be just a knee-jerk reaction because they need to get Ronda into a championship match, which I don't understand. I understand that she needs to be pushed as in to promote the pay-per-view and everything, but what happened with the Natty stuff? She got paired with Natalya, and then it was almost like it's inevitable Natalia's going to turn on her or whatever. But then, now you're just going to be chucked into a title match without actually having a singles match on TV. And then it's there's no build-up to why she should be champion, why she should get a title shot anyway. It's just because Nia Jax tells her.
Yeah. Well, I think the Natty thing. Well, I think Rousey will win the belt. And then I think they'll go straight into this program with Natty, which I can understand because she'll have good matches with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the way they've gone about it story-wise makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And I think that's the issue here, is that we haven't... Yeah.
And the trouble is you can't make Ronda lose, really, on her first match in a singles match on a pay-per-view. If you make her lose, then it just diminishes the whole point of her being a massive star and a massive big deal to be signed by the WWE. In her first pay-per-view match as a singles star, she loses. Then
that could happen, right? They could do that stuff with Stephanie McMahon. I can see a Nia Jax Stephanie McMahon team, and you screw over.
Yeah, I suppose.
Jax. But I mean, do we want that? Yeah,
no.
It's a tough one, but this segment is what it is. I don't know. I kind of came away from it going, I can't really hate it, but I wouldn't say I liked it either.
No. I was exactly the same, sort of, and it's by.
It's the same with the tag team stuff as well. I mean, we actually had Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy on this week, which we didn't last week, and they just had a match. That was it. They just beat the Ascension, and that was that. And I was like, oh, okay.
There's just no rivalries or just for the sake of being on TV.
Yeah, which I don't mind, but they just got to start taking the tag team titles a bit more seriously.
Yeah.
But
it's the whole thing with the tag really does my head in, because it's sort of there's so many good tag teams, and they're just forgotten about because there's no the tag matches are just pushed aside. It's we have to have a tag team on, but then they're all beating each other. No one's got any momentum from it.
No, and then you look at someone like the Revival, they just don't exist anymore.
No, but now they're fighting. They're just getting beat easily, but they were supposed to be the big thing from NXT.
Yeah, which is those two injuries really fucked them over. That really finished them off. But I mean, as we're talking about it, we had all the stuff with the B team. They had a barbecue. There's going to be a battle royal next week. I actually the barbecue stuff I didn't like. As a bit too cringy.
Yeah, that was a bit. Yeah, but I like the B team.
I like the B team. I think they're really fun. I mean,
they are funny.
You know, they're being. I can't think of the right word, but I don't know.
Although I do wish they sort of did the whole "Can we be your team" a little bit longer, because I was quite enjoying like the creative side of that, where they were like trying to team up with Seth and Finn and everything like that. I did quite enjoy that. It would have been nice to see them try and go through like every sort of team.
Yeah. I think so. I just sometimes it's like when Heath Slater was doing you may not have been watching them, but he was doing the legend gimmick. And every week I knew, I'm going to get that skit. And I look forward to that skit. And but I guess they move so fast these days. I mean, it's both bad and good depending how you want to look at it. They do fly through it. But yeah, I like what they're doing with them. I've thought for a while it would be nice to actually try and use these two properly, because I actually thought they had there was just something there. It's just a good idea between them. So now that we actually are doing it.
Yeah, it would be nice to see them actually getting a proper push instead of they'll win a match and then they'll just lose to Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt on an episode of Raw, just meaningless.
Which means nothing.
Yeah, and then that'll be it. Then we'll forget about the B team.
Yeah, I hope. Do
you reckon the Authors of Pain will be in this battle royal? Because they haven't been on the show for the last.
You tell me, Luke, because I don't know.
I mean, what happened to them?
I don't know. Wow,
they come win 2 matches in a row. They're supposed to be like pushed, and then they just disappear.
I'm doing a video about this thought culture. The main idea is basically Vince McMahon doesn't like tag teams. And I think he's right. I think it's true. What I don't want to happen is I don't want the B team to beat Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. It's not the time. That's the problem we have here.
Yeah, it needs to be a slow build. They need to be built up properly. Is like, you know, when they came out celebrating like with the running down with and like jumping on the chair and falling all the way down the aisle, that sort of thing. That needs to be like done on a regular basis in that sort of like comedic fashion. They need to like be beating people luckily and then just as if they're on like a lucky winning streak before they get anywhere near the titles.
That's it. That's why I'm worried about this battle royal next week, because I presume they're going to win it, and then they're already number one they're tag team, they're number one contenders. You're like, man, that was quick. That was
exactly,
really,
and
really
that's
quick.
like two matches, and they're in a tag team title match.
Yeah. Something else I do want to talk about is that Kevin Owens also beat Bobby Roode clean. Now, I didn't realize till afterwards, that is now 2 losses for Bobby Roode back to back, which WWE don't usually do. And at this stage, I think we desperately need to turn Bobby Roode heel. I think his face turn. His music is over. I don't think he is over as a face. I think he certainly could be, but I don't think he's being given the the opportunity to do so. I just don't think he works as a face. And
he's just there at the minute, and he's like nothing is happening with him. And it's the same on SmackDown. Nothing really happened from then until he won the US title championship, and that was just taken off him.
But I mean, I don't like. Where's he even going? Is he? I can't even remember if he's in Money in the Bank. I know he is, but I can't even remember because, you know, it feels
it's not spoken about, is it?
No, it feels so redundant at this stage.
Yeah.
Although, that could mean maybe they're going to give him the win. It could be one of those things.
Oh, can you imagine?
But I think they've got a lot of work to do if they want to do that, because I just don't think people buy into him at the moment.
Yeah, it would look good. Like he would look good with the whole glorious entrance, with the briefcase and everything. That would look good. But like the idea of him actually winning it, he's got to be the biggest underdog to win it, surely. Out of the 8 people.
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. I think that's fair.
He's just losing every week.
And also, I mean, Braun Strowman aside, I was going to say I want a heel to win. That's not true, because I'd like it if Balor won. He's just not the right guy. He's just not the right guy.
No.
That's it. He's just not the right guy. So, yeah, but that surprised me. I thought that was very strange they just did that. And then, of course, here's the weird thing, right? Sami Zayn and Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, yeah.
I think Sami Zayn is very good as a heel and a face.
Yeah.
However, these 2 segments over the last 2 weeks, I just do not understand.
They're weird, aren't they?
I don't get I mean, I don't mind car crash TV, but it's actually quite hard to pull off. You either do it by accident and you strike gold, or, maybe you can come up with it, but I think that's a lot harder. So, and who was this going to serve? Bobby Lashley looks stupid.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn doesn't really feel any more heelish than he did anyway.
No. And why isn't he teaming up with Kevin Owens anymore? Like, what happened there? Why isn't Kevin Owens coming out and defending him?
Yeah, again, man.
That's
please tell me. Please tell me, because I don't know.
It's almost like we're just forced to forget it.
Yeah. I mean, it's all because at one point they were feuding. Don't forget, they slapped each other, then went, nah.
Yeah, now we're best friends.
Don't worry about it. And the other thing as well is Bobby Lashley is going to win at Money in the Bank. There's just no way they're going to put Sami Zayn over.
No,
so
really, you shouldn't really expect Sami Zayn to win after all the grief he's given Bobby Lashley. You'd think it should be that way as a payoff.
Yeah, but I think the problem is that they haven't used Bobby Lashley in the right way, and he's already lost his momentum. He already doesn't feel special. He's only been back a month or whatever it is, month and a half.
No, I don't look forward to seeing him on there when I think about watching SmackDown. You're not excited to see what Bobby Lashley's going to do next.
Yeah, because what feud does he go to after? Let's say he beats Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank, then what? Who's next? Bobby Roode? No one wants to see that.
No.
They'll do that just because they're both called Bobby.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. It feels a bit lost to me. I don't. It's not going well. Although, even though they're not sort of being featured in any major angle, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, love it.
Oh, I like them. Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Such a good team.
Yeah. But it's almost like they're getting pushed as a tag, but you can see them because obviously he had a singles match where he just destroyed Chad Gable for some reason when Chad Gable was supposed to be coming out as a singles wrestler. So you'd have thought he would have been pushed a bit, but that's beside the point. But it's like you can see them both being a team, but with singles belts.
Yeah. I imagine that's the plan as well.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that's the plan. Like, I'm completely all right with them being a unit and splitting off from each other. Actually, I say that. No, Drew McIntyre one, they just plow him in the head, won't he? And they'll split up. That's what WWE will do.
Yeah.
They love that. But I think they're treating Drew McIntyre really well. Like, it's a shame that they're just running through Chad Gable. I like Chad Gable a lot. And it kind of feels like lost in the shuffle. But I do like that team. And I got to give credit where credit is due. WWE, I thought it was mental when I first heard it.
Oh, yeah. It was so random. Like, you just got a call up and then just paired with Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
It was just sort of assumed to think that was supposed to happen.
No, I really like it. I'm excited to see what they do with him going down the line. And then essentially it was the women's gauntlet match. Sasha Banks goes in it, Bayley doesn't, Ruby Riott doesn't, Morgan and Logan don't, Mickie James don't. It was okay. It was
all right.
Yeah, I thought it was. That was it, really. I was finished. I was okay.
I was surprised that Bayley didn't come across Sasha Banks in it.
I mean,
I thought that would have been.
What is that feud now? What is that feud again? We just gave up on it. We saw the turn, and then we just forgot about the turn.
I mean, how long has that been going on for? Since the Royal Rumble? When she eliminated him, was it?
Well, really, it's been going on since last year. They started teasing it. So I'd say a year and a half, if you want to be really pedantic, which is mental.
It's got to be the longest running feud, which hasn't had a payoff.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to now. It's like they've given up on it. So I don't know. But I thought it was fine. Sasha Banks and Money in the Bank, cool. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's just fine. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, yeah, whatever, cool.
Yeah.
And same with SmackDown, really. Like, the problem with SmackDown was I liked the beginning because Samoa Joe came out and just was like, you remember how I'm really good at promos? I'm like, you are really good at promos.
Yeah.
But then Big Cat and Daniel Bryan came out, all the stuff you'd expect. Then they put fucking Big Cass in it. I just don't.
It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, especially when you got those two guys. Anyone else, I actually think I'd be okay with it. But when it's those two and you've told me about that match for 7 days and I tune in for SmackDown for that match and then I only get it to 3/4, it pisses me off a little bit because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, because that was sort of like, make sure you tune in to next week because who doesn't want to see Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan? That should be a pay-per-view, but that's, they're chucking it on SmackDown anyway. And then it's like, actually, no, you're not going to see that because we're going to chuck Big Cass in it as well.
Do you want to see Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan? Because that's what we're getting. Just as a jumping to the end. Good match between all three. It turns into a triple threat match. Samoa Joe takes out Daniel Bryan. Don't even mind that. I want them to push Samoa Joe. So, that's a great win for him. But then it ends with Big Cass kicking Daniel Bryan in the face, and that's how it goes off air. And, that's what I didn't want to see. I'm not into it. I'm just not. For better or worse, I'm not into it.
No, I was like the same. It was, here we go again, that sort of thing.
I don't know. I don't know. But I guess that's what we're getting. But the Samoa Joe stuff I'm excited about. I think Samoa Joe will do. There's another one that if you want to go the heel direction for Money in the Bank, give it to Samoa Joe. Just give it to Samoa Joe.
I'd like that. Definitely, I'd like that.
It'd be so good. He'd be such a prick with it as well in the best possible way.
Yeah, he could have some great matches with Nakamura or Styles, whoever comes out of that with the title. You know, you'd like to see either of those matches, really.
Who do you think's going to win that? Because I want Nakamura to win it, but because I think Joe's going into it, I don't see how he can. Because they don't like doing heel versus heel stuff.
No, I think it is time for Nakamura. I don't think they would have kept it going if the title's not going to change hands.
Well, that's the other thing, yeah.
And Styles has had it for quite a long time now.
200 days? Yeah, it is a long time. It's a long time.
Yeah, Clash of Champions, I think he won it, was it?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
November time. But yeah, I'd like to see Nakamura win it. I think he'd be quite good as a heel champion.
I think it would justify his whole character. Yeah, I think it would be perfect.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think I'd like to see a change. I would be okay with it if it didn't change. Don't get me wrong, because Styles is amazing. But yeah, I think it's time. And the whole Joe thing. If Nakamura does win, I can't see it being Joe who would go on to that. Maybe Joe would go to Jeff Hardy and go down that way as a push. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't mind that either. I like Jeff Hardy.
That would be quite cool.
Yeah. Nakamura fought Ty Dillinger. I thought it was fine. Didn't like all the focus on numbers.
It's a bit strange.
It was a bit forced. It was a bit like, oh, okay, we're doing that, are we?
Yeah.
But the match was good. I enjoyed the match. I thought, it got him over as a heel.
So,
yeah.
I was surprised with how much offense Tyler Dillinger actually got in the match.
Well, the match, I thought it was going to be like a 2-minute thing. I think they got.
I thought it was just to be squash. And
they got about 6 or 7, I think, in the end. So
yeah.
But Nakamura. I mean, look, they're both good wrestlers. Ty Dillinger is a good wrestler.
Yeah, he's underused.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just has no place. He is the definition of a middleman, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fine. A lot of SmackDown was just fine, other than Naomi versus Lana in the dance-off. Because in 2018, who wants to see a dance-off? Who's that for? Who's it for?
Oh no! I mean, it wasn't even like there was no build-up to it. It was just random, wasn't it? I didn't remember seeing anything to say that it would happen or that they were feuding, or did that just randomly happen? Did I miss something?
Well, last week, what'd you call it? Lana was being treated like a face.
Yeah.
And now this shit, I don't know, man. I don't know. And then they'll have a big fight, Rusev Day, Usos. I was just like, I don't. What?
It's like we'd gone back to the Attitude Era and there was bikini contests and.
I mean, it did feel like a bit like that to me.
Brown panties contests.
Yeah, I mean, I just who wants to see a dance? I get it. I like variety. I'm all about variety. But this just was weird to me. This felt utterly bizarre.
It was very strange.
Yeah.
Like if there was a build up to it, maybe like, next week we're going to have a dance contest and everything. Then, or maybe a few of the women's wrestlers were in it and then made it actually like a competition. But it was just so random. I just don't understand where it came from.
Yeah, I don't know what the point was. I really, really don't know what the point was. But hey, that's what they did. They all had a big fight afterwards. I was like, all right. But luckily, they made it better with the New Day and the bar stuff and the Miz. It would have been utterly dumb, but yeah, I loved it. I thought, when they cut to the bar and they were throwing pancakes at a blindfolded Miz, I was like, I'm all right with this. It's like the dumbest shit I've ever seen, but I'm all right with it.
The thing is, Miz can't do no wrong, really, can he?
He gets his character, doesn't he? He gets his character, and he's just, he just.
You love to hate him.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's. It's almost like when you find your feet and you're so comfortable with the character, you know how they react in any situation.
Yeah, he's really good at adapting, like bringing his own real life daughter into it and saying how Monroe Sky is going to change me and everything like that. I loved all that sort of stuff, and it was like it's died off a bit now, but I loved when he started doing that. I think it just made him like more entertaining.
Totally, man, and it goes to show that he's versatile as well, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's why, that's why all this worked. They had a match. Big E won. Again, it was a bit weird in the sense I don't really know what it seems like they're going to happen. Because the Miz is in Money in the Bank, right? He is, isn't he? That's correct. Yeah. So I imagine that Big E, given that he won this match, is going to be the New Day member to get chosen. And that means that Xavier Woods and Kofi can have a match against the Bar, which we've seen.
The Bar, yeah.
We've probably seen a bit too much, but I don't hate it either. It's not like I don't feel like it's getting in the way. And if
they could have a good match.
If that's the case, you know what? Big E winning Money in the Bank, not against it.
No, I heard there was like rumors of him having a push.
I heard
and
about
at first
this, right?
I thought it was very strange, but then when you think about it, he is really good.
Yeah, and he's massive, which they like.
Yeah,
So,
he's a WWE guy, and he's a huge dude. So, yeah, I mean, I know people say like, oh, it's time to split the New Day up and everything like that, but Big E with the briefcase is a lot more attractive to me within the New Day rather than on his own, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think the New Day are the quintessential, we can do whatever we want with these guys as singles,
Yeah.
but they can all stay together group. I don't think you ever need to break them up. I think we need something different eventually.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need to break them up because it just doesn't. I don't think I'd ever believe it.
No.
I mean, I'm sure they could come up with a way where they could do that, but I don't think we need to do that straight away. I think we could split them all off. If you want to push Big E, I don't think you need to break the New Day up. I think it'd be more fun if they didn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then there's always a threat then that he could win the title because of the New Day all attacking the champion at the same time, which I don't think we've ever seen before.
No, and that's important to me. Like you never see faces that have other guys sort of rooting for them.
No.
So
no, I agree.
Yeah, like I just like it. I think it'd be different. I'd be okay with it anyway. I certainly would be okay with it. But this was kind of just there. It was fine. We pushed the fact that Bludgeon Brothers are going to take it on Gallows and Anderson at the pay-per-view. Bludgeon Brothers are going to win. There's no way Gallows and Anderson are going to win. And same with Asuka. Asuka then beat Mandy Rose, and Carmella got in her face. And Carmella is definitely going to beat Asuka at Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I tell you now. I guarantee it, man.
Yeah,
she ain't winning. She's not winning. So
I love Carmella as well. It's like she's got her character nailed down to an absolute T.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love her. I just ever since the WrestleMania decision, Asuka has felt nowhere near as exciting as she should have done. And, so to me, it was just a mistake. It was just a mistake. Just was.
It got to the point where I forgot that she's on SmackDown.
Exactly, and that wasn't the case before.
No, when you tune into Raw before WrestleMania, you just know there's going to be an Asuka match, and you just know she's going to squash someone.
Yeah,
and I was looking forward to seeing it every time.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Sometimes they pull the trigger too quick. I would say this is an example of just that. And then we had that weird thing with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, which was bizarre.
Oh, that was awkward.
I know. I mean, everyone goes nuts at me because I give that stuff an up and they go, but it was rubbish. I was like, yeah, but they didn't write this, did they? They delivered it as best as they could. Unfortunately, when you have verbiage like, I'm gazing off into the distance and I can see myself winning Man in the Bank, it's like, it's really hard to say those words and not sound like an absolute twonk. It's just the truth. It's just the truth.
I think when you see things like that, you've got to remember that it's the Raw and SmackDown now are sort of based around children watching it as well. So, an adult would look at that and be like, but why would you be staring off into the distance with a camera shoved in your face? Whereas a child would be like, oh, what is she thinking? What is she thinking? That sort of thing.
No, you're right. I mean, sometimes it always sounds so dodgy. It's my friends' kids. But when I do watch wrestling with them, you are like, right, yes, I forget that this is not for me anymore. Well, it is for me. But it's
for everyone.
I mean, what age did you first watch wrestling? 6, right?
6,
exactly.
Yeah.
I was about 5. So you have to remember that's when people get into it. So
yeah, definitely, yeah.
And that was SmackDown, and it's always crazy when we go through SmackDown. That's why I stopped doing the individual shows on it, because I was like, oh, it's over. It barely begun.
Flew by,
which is good, which I like, and that's why I'm excited about going to Fox. I think 2 hours on Fox, when they're really going to have to push the hell out of it, it can't go longer than 2 hours because Fox has a very specific schedule. They cannot fit 3 hours of programming. Plus, now the rumor that there's going to be some stuff on FS1, which sounds like Talking Smack. Apparently in the deal is for I can't remember the word they use, but whatever not a talk show, but that's not the word they use at all. But whatever they call those shows, I can't remember the word. But yeah, it certainly sounds like they want something like that on FS1, or at least want more. There's a show within that, and I think that's. I'm trying to find it now, and I'm just looking on the internet to see if I can find. It's a very interesting wording, and it does sound like Talking Smack. Everyone went mental as soon as they saw it, obviously. I can't find it, but yeah, there is some kind of show they want on FS1, which is not wrestling. So,
that'd be quite interesting.
I hope they do a studio show. That's what they called it. How did I not remember
Studio
that?
show.
So in the deal, apparently, is a weekly studio show. Do Talking Smack. You want to?
Yeah.
I genuinely believe. I mean, we're screwed. We can't watch FS1. But I genuinely, maybe Sky will do a deal. I don't know. It's Fox after all. Murdoch. Did Murdoch sell Sky? I can't remember. Well, anyway, I can't remember. But the point is that if all these people that genuinely miss Talking Smack want to see it, they'll go watch it.
Yeah, true.
And
so
I think
everyone benefits from that, I suppose.
Absolutely. And I know people are going a bit crazy. I don't give a shit how much money WWE does make or doesn't make. I want them to do well, but it's irrelevant to me. This to me just sounds good for business.
Yeah.
As they say.
You'd like to think that because of this, that it would sort of improve.
I hope so.
In a way, yeah.
Well, I think it has to. They don't want to be. They will. Fox will cancel them if ratings are bad. They're not. They're not going to muck around. Like in many ways, you could argue that USA needs WWE more than Fox needs WWE, and therefore they're in charge. Because if you're the person pulling all the strings, that's just
you can do what you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was I think it was a lull week. We've still got. I'll tell you exactly how long we've got till Money in the Bank. 2.5 weeks. So probably next week is going to be a bit of a lull as well. But I don't think you could. In terms of a business, their stock just hit a record high. They've made these deals. I think Money in the Bank will be good. We come out of that. We go into SummerSlam. I actually think the next few months are going to be all right with WWE. To be completely honest.
Yeah, I hope to think they would be. Yeah, definitely. I think the build to SummerSlam, depending on who wins the Money in the Bank and who wins the title between Nakamura and Styles, you could be looking at a really good SummerSlam this year.
I think so. I hope so too. And also,
if no injuries, that sort of thing. You've got a very good roster there.
Also, genuinely looking forward to John Cena coming back. I know.
Yeah,
I know. But I was thinking this earlier. I was like, I quite like him back. So yeah. Before we do start to wrap things up, there, Luke, there is one big question I have to talk to you about.
Okay.
Have you heard Enzo Amore's new rap song?
Oh no, I haven't.
Keep it that way.
Yeah, I heard it isn't great.
No, it's not great. I mean, who am I to criticize anybody on rap? However, no.
I haven't heard the rap, but I seen the comment from the girl who supposedly had the thing with, and I was like, I don't think I'd listen to that because it just sounds way too controversial. I think he just shot himself in the foot, isn't he? Really?
Oh yeah, yes, I agree with you. That's all I'll say about it.
He's been cleared of all charges, so then really, if you were him, you'd be like, right, well, I want my job back.
Yep. Well, he didn't.
No.
Oh dear, dude. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we start to wrap things up?
No. Other than actually, I was thinking about this the other day, and considering we spoke about the New Japan thing, and how you mentioned Naito being one of the most over guys. Were you aware of sort of before he came back to New Japan, what he was like before? So how he was like booed a lot and the way he was like pushed?
I knew that he had sort of Chris Jericho'd it, for lack of a better term, when he just gone, I'm going to completely change my character now.
Yeah, and the way he sort of like threw the belt around and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I knew all about that, but that was when I kept up with New Japan in an almost when I can kind of a way. So I knew what was going on, but it was only after everything else kicked off that I really kind of got in and retroactively saw that. But I knew it to a certain degree, and I certainly know that, he did a 180 on everything.
Yeah, I'd quite like to. That's what the WWE to do, that sort of booking with Roman Reigns. Yeah. Sort of have him just do a complete 180 on what he is now and go to a completely don't care heel mode. Just like encourage the boos, and then eventually I think it will be so much better for him in the long run, like completely change. So like Naito even changed his finisher and everything, and I think Roman Reigns definitely needs to change his finisher, because I don't know about you, but I'm bored of the spear / 5 Superman punches.
Yeah, I mean,
match
again, it's just Roman Reigns, isn't it? It's just it's just long in the tooth by this stage. So if it was working, that would be fine. Yeah, but it's not. It's not working, and that's what I don't understand. Like, I know it's not on the same degree, but if this podcast wasn't working, I would say, dude, it's not working. We need to change something up. We need to do this because know. So I think that just kind of shit rolls downhill. So it affects the spear. It affects his entrance music, his attire. It affects everything. Like, it just does.
just needs a change. He just needs to change something. And they're just not. It's been the same character for like since I went out of wrestling in like 2013.
Exactly. And there you go, man. How on earth can you go away for that long and come back and something that wasn't working still being the same? I think that's nuts. I think that's nuts.
Yeah.
But
no. So, but I thought it'd be it's something that they would be a good idea to do. I thought.
Yeah, I think so, man. Like, I loved everything. Like I say, the night I knew about the kick in the belt stuff because it cracked me up when he tried to destroy it. I loved all that.
Yeah,
I picked up on that, and I knew that he was a bit of a dick, and I knew that he changed it. But it was, I really started watching properly when I thought I'm going to try and watch sort of week to week as much as I can.
Yeah,
that's when I really picked up on the change that he'd gone through. And again, I think it kind of goes to show how, in many ways, you can say that New Japan are thinking maybe a slightly smarter way than WWE are.
Yeah.
And
I think it's a lot more planned out.
Oh, massively. Like I would absolutely... I mean, it sounds so long in the tooth. I would turn Roman Reigns heel. Of course I would.
Yeah,
but if they're not going to, at least a change of character or music or attire or something.
Yeah. Just give him something different.
Yeah, exactly. But, you know, what do you do? What do you do? I don't know.
We'll keep wishing.
Yeah, but I agree. I like Naito as well. And it sounds a bit... I always knew who he was. But from a more general royal point of view, I think more people do now. I think more people are aware of Naito. And I think that's important too. Because you want to have stars, man. WWE is not really a star business anymore, but it still helps. Helps to have a star. So
definitely.
Good shout. Anything else? I like that. That was good.
No. I can think of. No.
Well, there we go. Where can people find you on social media? Should you wish to give those details out, you don't have to. A lot of people afterwards they say to me, "I didn't want to give that out." I was like, "We don't have to. Like, it's not mandatory."
I am on Twitter at Mr. Luke Robbo.
Mr. Luke Robbo.
And Instagram, Mr. Luke Robinson.
Well, there we go. You can go find him out. So you go chat.
Chat to me about wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure you want to do it because otherwise, what's going on? But Luke, I do want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's been absolutely my pleasure. And again, thank you so much for pledging to the Patreon. I genuinely wouldn't be able to do this stuff without that because life costs money.
Welcome. Yeah.
You know, it's the truth. So thank you very much. As for everyone else, you can come on the podcast too. Get all the details at patreon.com/Simon316. The podcast's on YouTube, youtube.com/The Miller Report Rules. I'm on Twitter at Simon316. I'm on Instagram, just Simon Miller. I'm Simon316. I'm looking right now. I'm Simon316 on Twitter. Thanks. And make sure you join the Facebook group. Just search for Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast. And if you are indeed listening on iTunes, give us 5 stars, give us a review, and hey, why not go share this with a friend? Go share it on Reddit. See what happens there. You get yelled at. Reddit get mad, but you can give it a go should you want. Anyway, Luke, thanks once again for joining me. We will have a Q&A episode this week. I said it every week, but we will. I got hit in the head this week, so that kind of changed everything. But yeah, thanks very much for listening. Keep enjoying wrestling. Remember, it's meant to be fun. Put a smile on your face, and I will talk to you again very soon.